Today's technique tip is really quick. We all know how important it is to make sure that the pelvis is correctly aligned so that we can get into our full hip range of movement, so that we have the best spinal alignment, so that we're able to engage all the core muscles. Pelvis alignment, super important. Like me, I'm sure you have a ton of images that you use with your students to help them understand this. I'm sure you've got some anatomy lessons that you probably give, some creative imagery that you probably use. You highlight your students when they're doing well, but this is such an important foundation that it's something we're always working on and something that I'm always looking for new ways to explain to students. Lately, I've had a lot of success with the image of the Eiffel Tower. So the Eiffel Tower has the 4 legs, and then there's a major horizontal support structure, and then it goes up higher, and there's another horizontal support structure, and then it goes really, really high, and then there's the observation deck at the top. It's on the ground. It has a low level, a mid-level, and then an observation deck at the top. So let's build the Eiffel Tower with our bodies. The ground is really simple. Our feet are on the ground. Our legs are the beginning of the tower. This works particularly well in second position. Also, it works really well in fourth position because of the footprint of the tower on the ground. Feet are on the ground, legs are coming up. The first horizontal support is at the hips. You've got your hip bones here and your hip dimples back here. ASIS, PSIS, right? And the goal is to have that nice and level. I love that the Eiffel Tower has 4 support structures on the ground because it really helps students understand that we're not just looking at the belt line. They have muscles all the way through their body. Is this exactly where their pelvic floor is? No, it is not. But the idea that they have muscles, they have mass through their body, and they have muscles that go deeper than just what they can touch. The Eiffel Tower really helps with that. So this is our first horizontal support. We do not, this would be terrible. The Eiffel Tower would not be in a good position if we stood like this. So we need that first horizontal line to be in place. With beginners, that's where I stop. But as we get a little bit, well, I should say beginners, because when we get towards the end of beginning, so like advanced beginners and into intermediate, then I start to bring in the idea of that next horizontal support, which is here underneath the ribs. And there's a lot of different ways to do this. You can talk about the arch in the rib cage. I do that when we talk about the arches in the feet as support. The mirroring of the foot arch and the arch here tend to work really well. But we have a horizontal line here. So we don't, I don't even know if I have the spinal flexibility to do this, but we don't want anything funky. I can't do that, but you get the idea. We don't want anything funky happening here. Another option for that second horizontal support would be the collarbones. If you are working with students more on like tension, or you have someone who tends to tilt, either place tends to work as the second support. And then all the way up the Eiffel Tower at the top, you have the observation deck. Woohoo! That's where you look with your eyes. So your eyes, this one's nice and simple, but it works really well because then you can talk about how you have all of these support structures going up. This is not the back of their skull. A lot of kids think that their neck goes up to the back of their skull or as far out as their bun sticks out, which for some kids, I mean, that's a couple inches. But it doesn't. You have this curve inward of the neck, and the neck goes in right there. And no, don't poke super hard there. You have your brainstem there. Be careful. But that's where the top of the tower is. And if you have someone gently put their finger right there, really it aligns to the top of the head super well. And so you want to make sure your observation deck is looking out over the horizon and not terrifying the tourists by looking down. The Eiffel Tower has been a great image in my classes lately, and I hope it works really well for yours.